Imagine a world without the hum of power lines, without the glare of a screen, without the constant pull of a news feed or the pressure of a social media post. Imagine a world where time is measured by the sun and the seasons, where the loudest sound is the wind through a wheat field or the lowing of cattle at dusk. This world exists. It is not a historical reenactment or an artist's retreat. It is the daily reality for a community of Mennonites in the vast, flat pampas of Argentina. Here, they have built a fortress of faith against the modern age, a sanctuary of simplicity. But the 21st century is a tide that reaches every shore. This is the story of their quiet, determined battle, a battle not for land or political power, but for the soul of a community. It is a struggle between a world they have vowed to keep out and a world that is, with every passing day, pressing irresistibly in. The story of these people begins not in South America, but in the heart of Europe 500 years ago. In the 16th century, a time of violent religious upheaval, a small group of believers in the Netherlands and Switzerland broke away. They were the Radical Reformation. They believed in adult baptism, in the absolute separation of church and state, and in a life of radical pacifism. They refused to take up arms or swear oaths to any government. For these beliefs, they were hunted, tortured, and killed. Their history is a map of exile. They fled from Switzerland to Prussia, from Prussia to Russia, and finally, when promises of freedom were broken once more, they crossed the ocean to the Americas in the 19th and 20th centuries. They are not Amish, though they share a common ancestor. The Amish split from them. These are Mennonites, named for Menno Simons, one of their early leaders. They are the great survivors, the people who have kept their identity not by conquering, but by moving, always moving, in search of a place to be left alone. Argentina, with its promise of remote, fertile land, became one of their final stops, a new promised land at the end of a very long road. And so, they built their world. They built it with their own hands, from the ground up. You see it in their colonies, neat, geometric grids of dirt roads connecting simple, functional farmhouses. There are no street lights, there is no public electricity. The men wear homemade trousers and suspenders. The women wear long, modest dresses and bonnets, their hair always covered. They speak a dialect of Low German, Plautdietsch, a living fossil of their European past. Technology is not just avoided, it is viewed with deep suspicion. It is a gateway, they believe, to vanity, to idleness, to the corrupting influence of the outside world. Cars are forbidden, so they travel by horse-drawn buggy. Tractors are forbidden, so they plow their vast fields with teams of horses. They have no televisions, no radios, no internet. The rhythm of life is the rhythm of agrarian labor. Milking cows, harvesting crops, mending fences. Their social life is the church service, held in austere meeting houses. Their law is the Bible and the collective wisdom of the elders. It is a life of immense physical hardship, but also of profound clarity and purpose. Every action, from the clothes they wear to the tools they use, is a prayer, a statement of faith. But the outside world is no longer a distant rumor. It is right there, at the edge of their fields. You can see it in the tension on a young man's face as he guides his horse-drawn plow, watching a modern Argentine tractor speed across a neighboring farm, doing in an hour what takes him a day. You can hear it in the anxious discussions among the elders. The temptations are no longer abstract. Young people, curious about the world they see in smuggled magazines or hear about from occasional visitors, are asking questions. Some sneak away to nearby towns, lured by the forbidden glow of a cell phone screen, the pulse of music, the freedom of different clothes. The community's greatest fear of fall or falling away is no longer a theoretical danger. It is happening. Each young person who leaves is not just a loss of labor. It is a crack in the theological foundation, a challenge to the entire premise that their isolated way is the only righteous path. The battle lines are drawn in the human heart between the comfort of familiar tradition and the terrifying allure of an unknown future. The women, in particular, carry a unique burden in this struggle. Their lives are defined by a doctrine of submission and quiet service. Yet, they are also the backbone of the colony's economy and its cultural continuity. They work in the fields, they manage the homes, they bear and raise the large families that are the community's future. In their hands is the immense responsibility of passing on the language, the hymns, the unwritten rules of behavior to the next generation. When a daughter begins to question her prescribed role or dreams of an education beyond what the colony offers, the conflict is not just ideological, it is a deep personal heartbreak for a mother caught between her love for her child and her duty to her faith. The community's survival depends on these women's unwavering commitment, even as the modern world whispers to them of a different kind of life. So, what happens now? This is the quiet crisis unfolding in the Argentine pampas. The Mennonites are facing an enemy they cannot outrun because it is not a pursuing army, but an idea, the idea of individual choice. For centuries, their strategy was geographical separation. That separation is now porous. The globalized world does not invade with soldiers. It infiltrates with a satellite signal, a disposable camera, a teenage fantasy. The elders debate: do they tighten the rules, enforce even stricter separation? Or do they bend, allowing just enough change, a diesel generator for essential milling, a communal phone for emergencies to keep the young from leaving entirely? It is a desperate calculus. Their story asks a question that echoes far beyond their wheat fields. In our hyper-connected, materialistic age, is there still room for a life built on spiritual separation and radical simplicity? Can a community founded on the principle of being in the world, but not of it, survive when the world insists on coming in? The Mennonites of Argentina are living this question every day. As their horse-drawn buggies roll down dirt roads that seem to lead from the 19th century directly into the 21st, they are not relics. They are protagonists in a profound human drama. They are fighting to preserve a light that has been kept burning for 500 years, a light of faith, community, and manual labor against the dazzling, sometimes blinding, glare of the modern age, and the outcome is anything but certain.